Well, happy Ardbeg Day, neighbors and friends. John, your whiskey neighbor here. And today, in 2019 Ardbeg Day, I want to talk to you about a favorite of mine. This is Ardbeg Uigeadail. I'll let you know in a moment. All right, I'm not sure what I'm going to let you know about in a moment, but thanks for staying with me through the break. As I said, it's Ardbeg Day. What a great piece of marketing, but I fully embrace and accept that at least one day a year I'm gonna open up a bottle of Ardbeg and walk myself through it. In fact, I use it as an excuse to pick this up. This is something I've had a while ago, and I'll admit I haven't had it in some time. So part of this is really just fun to open up and share with you on Ardbeg Day. But my tasting notes will be a little bit fresh, or fresh, and then from the way back memory. But if you've never heard of Ardbeg, you must be new to Scotch whiskey, because Ardbeg is certainly one of the classic, one of the very well-known, well-respected distilleries on Islay in Scotland, on that island. You can tell it's a gorgeous day. I don't normally drink this level of Scotch on a hot kind of sunny day. I'm usually drinking thinner whiskeys or bitier bourbons with some ice and stuff, but it is Ardbeg Day. Sorry, I got distracted by the plane going overhead. This is Uigeadail. It's I believe it's named after the loch that's very close to the distillery. Might even be where some of the water comes from. And it is non-age statement. The whiskey in here, it's a single malt Scotch, which means it's all malt, so it's all barley, and it's single, so it's all from Ardbeg. But when I talk about what's inside here, it is a makeup of some of this Scotch has aged in first fill bourbon, some in second fill bourbon casks. That's some of the oak casks. But what really marks this off is a significant amount of this has aged in ex-Oloroso sherry casks. I've heard the numbers are anywhere between 30 and 50% of this has spent its life aging in I think it's second fill though, Oloroso sherry. On the back, it really just says something about very old, notes of old ex-sherry casks. So it doesn't tell you here, but if you do a little bit of research or whatnot, that's what I get. So even though it's not an age stamp, I've heard that some of that ex-bourbon casks, actually they're 10-year-old already. So I think there's a really wide variety of ages in here. It's released, as Ardbeg always is, non-chill filtered, uncolored. This one's at 54.2%. So it's a bit stronger than their standard 46%, which is still, good enough to say hello. But it is a little bit stronger. So definitely has been a favorite of mine. Clearly I'm just into this particular bottle. Let me share what I'm smelling and tasting with you today. Cheers. Well, I'm not going to drink it. I'm going to give you a little bit of nosing notes. I really appreciate the nose on this Scotch. It's certainly the kind of bottle that you open the bottle, pour a splash, and not even that long, people will turn and look, what are you drinking? Wait, what did you just pour? Because it has such a wonderful nose. When I go to it, the first thing, actually, I'm almost catching that sherry right up front. So I am getting a darker, older sherry, so a deeper red, raisin, older cherry. And then as you're taking in that red fruit, fig, like a deeper fruit, a pithy, the smoke comes to you. And it's smoke from a large wooded fire. Like, of course, wooded fire. Like, but what I mean is, it's you're close to the fire. Like, the smoke is not just a hint or a wisp or a thin charcoal smoke. This is an earthy smoke. When you're like at 54.2 and at high peat levels and smoke levels, you don't really need to be shoving your nose in like that. You really probably do it with service to be breathing in and moving it through. And that's when you're going to get that high fruit, smoked fruit, cooked fruit, jammy kind of notes. You might get an edge, like, a red fruit continues to go almost into that tomato-based barbecue. And you might get a little bit of barbecue with this, if that's one of the notes that you get in peated Scotch. I want to say, first off, and you'll hear a recommendation for this all the way through, but if you're not a peated Scotch, if you've never had peated Scotch, or you've had it and you don't like it, I'm not recommending you chase after this bottle. This is very much in that peated arena, right? The smoke is earthy, and you can get on the edge, it starts to get into a little bit of iodine, a little bit of that, when the salt note of the brine note comes out, and it's definitely there. Now that I've said it out loud, I've triggered that thought in my head. When you get that mix of smoke and earth and peat and salt, you can get into iodine and a little bit of kind of almost medicinal or rubber band-aid. And it is there, but not where I started, and not really where I stay even. There are some Scotches that I almost appreciate that they're strong in that vein, and this isn't that. This is very strong in that ex-sherry and then smoked. So smoked deep red fruit. Yeah. I really like the nose on Uigeadail. What I'm currently grabbing matches my memory of the last bottle very well. It's a great nose. Now, sláinte. I don't know if you noticed, I took a bigger sip than I was hoping to. But the sip can wake you up to some of that peat, to some of that almost peppery, certainly earthy, stronger peat. You almost need to swallow it or take a smaller sip would have been better, and move it on your tongue to get, oh yeah, okay, no, the fruits are coming through. It's still sweet, and it is a sweet Scotch. Because when you take a big sip like I did right there, it explodes in your mouth, across the mouth with that pepper smoke. The smoke ends a little bit toward ash now, and so then when you get that ash, smoldering fire, it turns the fruit from a fresher fruit on the nose. I think the fruit is decent on the nose, to something baked and cooked and heads off into that leathery note. And certainly in the early finish, that's what I'm getting. I get into those leathers, the bit of tobacco, right? That's coming. And actually in the mid finish, this is an incredible finish, in the sense that it will be with you tomorrow when you wake up. No, that's an exaggeration, but the length of this finish actually, I find, goes through different stages. So I said where I was up front, where I'm getting kind of that leathery and tobacco-y. Then I actually do travel a bit, now that I'm just talking and just being here. I do get into a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of tannic, a little bit of something that is on that edge of that kind of medicinal band-aid. And then I'm not giving it enough time, but then it tends to, for me, it tends to fade back and leaves me with that deep fruitiness, actually, which I expected it to leave me just with the smoke and ash, because that's a big part of the palate. This is a Scotch that that I genuinely enjoy pouring a splash and just nosing it and talking and, oh, what's going on and whatever, you know, and just bringing it up and just nosing it again and talking. Hey, did you see the Raptors game? Yeah, you know, whatever. And talking and just nosing it again. I genuinely enjoy this nose. Yeah, there's an edge to it. There's a sharpness. It's still a young Scotch, I think. I think it's a mixture of probably 10 to, well, probably 8 to 14-year-old, in that range. Probably with most of it being under 10. But that nose, oh, there it was pretty sharp. Kind of actually really singed a little bit. So, you know, maybe it's even younger. The second sip, I was more moderate, which allowed me to kind of keep it up front just a little bit more, and I got a little more of that sweetness. I actually find it to be quite a sweet Scotch and not overwhelmed by the char and the smoke. Now, as I said at the beginning, if you don't enjoy peat, I wouldn't start with this. It's very strong, it's very smoky, and it would overwhelm that. This isn't a gentle, oh, okay, I see what we're saying, like this. This is a very large Islay Scotch. Do I enjoy this? If you can't tell, yes, I totally enjoy this Scotch. Would I recommend it? 100%. This is a great Scotch, and they've kept it. You know, I know it's not a no age stamp, but it's a wonderful flavor, and at 54.2, strong. I'm going to put some water. It holds up to water. You know, in Canada, it sits on the shelf where I am for about $90 Canadian, which is a really good value for this. Now, I've seen it as high as $110 in some stores, so it's quite a stretch, right? It's a $20 stretch. But Superstore still carries it at $89.99, I think, before tax, and it really is a great value at that. I know that's more than I normally review, guys. I know I'm really looking for that $30 to $50 bottle, but it's Ardbeg Day. And this is a special release. I was telling my son yesterday, I poured a splash for him yesterday, and I said, you know, this is an event whiskey. This isn't just a chill down the day whiskey. I'm sure it can, but this is one where I would save up for, you know, it's a Father's Day whiskey, that kind of thing. This is something that I think is really special and worth sharing, and really, I suppose I should give it a star rating. I'm pretty early into this bottle, so it's going to be a mix of memory, but it sits pretty much at a 5-star for me, 5 out of 5. I mean, maybe it's because of its youth and some of that burn in the nose that I was getting, even though I love the nose, or even some of that medicinal quality. You know, it could take a little bit off for that, but honestly, if you like peat and you haven't had this, I would recommend it 100%. So that's for me. That's a 5-star. I enjoy this Scotch, and I should pour it once I'm down into it. I think I'll pour it against last year. I've still got a little bit of the 2016 Lagavulin anniversary release. I think that would be a nice one to pour it against. Adding water to me actually makes this very sherried. The fruit has gone to a bright cherry, maybe a bit of orange in that now. Yeah, I'd go the citrus, but not a vanilla, not a lemony, but an orangey citrus. Yeah, actually, funny, it's going up my nose harder, which is kind of strange. So brighter, fuller, stronger fruits, but sharper for me right now. Just sitting here on the deck. It's too warm out here. Yeah, definitely citrus. Almost toward lemon now. And vanillas are stronger. Yeah. That's funny. The nose, Oh, there on the after I swallowed. The nose definitely went towards even stronger sherry notes, but the palate to me almost went the other way. It became just a kind of a vanilla, sweet, smoky, peaty. I almost lost the sherry. But as I started talking, actually, it kind of came back a little bit with those leather, deep skin fruits. What can I say? I know it's not the drum release. I know that's this year's, and I know it didn't have any maracas to do some Caribbean themed stuff. I don't have any of that. That's their rum finish. I think they did this year with the committee release. I don't have it, haven't tasted it, but it is Ardbeg Day, and I'm glad I pursued this to open it up, even though it's kind of off year. For me, this screams fall or rainy day, not hot sunny day, but what a nice Scotch. Thanks for joining me here on the deck on Ardbeg Day. Hey, if you haven't subscribed and I'm saying some things you're interested in, why not? I think we've got a great community. I appreciate the conversations, all the comments coming in, and I try to respond to all of them. But even if I'm just thumbing them up or liking them, I actually do really appreciate it. So thanks, guys. Happy Ardbeg Day.